Hey, this is Chris with Chris and Rob Game Room, and we're here with a special guest, Laurier. Laurier, how's it going?
Hey, doing all right. Yourself?
I'm all right. And we're also joined with Robert and Joe, like usual. All right.
I'm Robert.
And yeah, that's Robert. So this week we're going to be going over our special guest, his website a little bit, and just going to be talking about some spoilers, the Cree Pack and our opinions on it, and with our special guest's opinion, and um, just going over the UK Nats and just basically the news of the week from Dice Masters. It was kind of crazy. So let's start off with so what's your website there, Laurier?
Okay, it's not just my website. It's called DM North for Dice Masters North. It's a website that's run by three people: me, Mathieu Jourdain, and Gord, aka Son of L. These two are from Calgary, which is in the western parts of Canada, and I'm from more the eastern part of it, and I'm specifically from like Quebec. So essentially, what happened is that we are running on this website primarily. We're showing the different teams that we're running in our different weekly events. Like Gord talks about his teams on Sundays, Matt talks about his teams on Wednesdays, and I talk about the teams I run on Thursdays. And so
That's
so
cool.
between those three, the three tournaments that we post about, we end up with a pretty steady stream of content where we talk about a lot of different strategies that we use, and so that way we give people insight onto, hey, here's some strategies you can play with, even if you're not going necessarily with the super strong meta stuff. You can make some strong stuff that can still be very functional. And well, if we mess up in our team building, we even say that we messed up, and we'll say how we can do it better. And
That's cool.
that's the main thing of it. There's some other things to it too. Like we do some reports on the various YouTube videos that are posted every week. Matt does a post there. Every week we have all of the different YouTube videos so that you have a one-stop shop if ever you want to know what to watch this weekend. And
Nice.
also, we've been helping out a little bit, as you guys know, with the two-team takedown, reporting information on there. We've also got some stuff that we're working on. Like, I don't know if people remember the Staples list I used to run on Facebook. Okay.
Staples list.
Yes, I had a list of cards that was suggesting for people like, okay, if here's a starting point if you're collecting and you want to know what cards are good.
Mm,
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
I want to transition that onto DM North. Obviously it's taking me a lot longer than I wanted to, simply because I haven't had as much free time, but I will get to it, I promise.
Yeah, that's what happens with when you're trying to do something for your hobby that you're trying to help other people out with. It's like it kind of takes a backseat a lot of time, and it's really hard sometimes. But man, it people appreciate it, and I mean, I know a staple list. That's that's awesome. I know I kind of just messed up in buying stuff at first because I just was like, oh, I'm just gonna go for all villains. Yeah, if it's a villain, I'm buying it, and it was just kind of backfired on me a little bit.
Hmm. Yes, your collection is vile and evil.
It's just his nature.
Yeah.
I Okay, you'd know that better than me.
No, he's really not.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, and on top of that, sometimes if ever we catch any breaking news, well, we'll try to post about it and do some little quick news articles whenever that happens.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to cover it like first impressions as quickly as we can on here, and sometimes it's too much stuff. Like with all the stuff that came out with last week, it was
Yeah.
just nuts.
It's like it's not going to be pretty, but we're going to try to get out there as soon as possible.
Yeah,
Get people's thoughts and ideas and how they can use certain cards and stuff like that.
Well, that's kind of what I did when they announced the new X-Men set. Kind of
Mhm.
rushed to throw something together. Okay, what do we know? Where can this likely go? What do they plan on doing with this?
yeah.
So
It's much like Whiz Kids on most things. They rushed it themselves too.
yeah, well, on the plus side though, I can say that my articles are slightly better written than the ones on ICV2 on the same topic.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Classic Zed man characters.
Nice.
Man, yeah. The one thing I really like about your guys' website is you you guys talk about the good teams that you make, and like I think the last article that you wrote, you basically had a big whiff on yours, and you're like, I got lucky on one game, but the rest of it, the team just doesn't work. And
That's cool. Covering both sides.
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that was Matt's, but yes,
Oh.
I mean it's possible. I mean,
Oh.
yeah, and we try to like show what works, what doesn't, because often when we mess up on building a team, well, that's a lesson to be learned for next time, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes the team is just one card away from actually being good. And you don't just throw out the whole concept because you forgot to put one good card in there, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man.
It takes a few cards to be like, nope, this is garbage.
And sometimes it's just you can't play.
Yeah. You can't help the bad rolls sometimes.
Oh, tell me about it.
And so how did you and Matt and I've never talked to the other guy. I do apologize that I just didn't know who it was, but Gordo, yeah. How did you guys all meet?
Oh, okay. Matt and Gordon know each other because they play in the same groups in Calgary, so they know each other for I don't know since how long, but yeah, they've been hanging out for a fair while. I got to meet them last summer when I visited Calgary. I was visiting some family over there, and so I got to meet the local Dice Masters group while I was there, and that's when I met Matt, and I got to meet Gord, and they're really awesome people, by the way. If anyone is ever in Calgary, like go see them, whether it be at Out of the Box or if they still play at Metal Galaxy. Like they're really awesome people, well worth meeting. And so yeah, then after that, Matt and we just stayed in touch, kept chatting, kept talking strategy, especially during Virtual Worlds. Like we were doing a lot of that, which made the top 8 match between him and me a little bit
awkward.
A little bit, yes.
Did you be like, hey, how can I beat you?
What is your weakness here?
We were joking that we were probably they were trying to weed out the Canadians, you know, face each other.
Well, we almost had an all-Canadian final in the 2-team takedown. That would have been crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, instead we had no Canadians in the 2-team takedown final.
Oh, I was rooting for you, man.
We only had one American amongst so many Americans in the tournament, so
yeah. And one European who, outside of UK players, I think James was the only European. And even then, he's originally from the UK.
Yeah.
So
that's funny.
What's in the water in the UK when it comes to Dice Masters?
I don't know, a bunch of dice probably.
I just know that we need to keep on giving them that water and show them some love.
Yeah.
Or maybe ship it over here. Maybe have like Nabisco or someone ship it over here so we can get a taste of it.
That would be a very good idea, especially if I could get some before Canadian Nationals.
When is that?
That is next month, July 14th and 15th. July 14th is the qualifiers, and July 15th is the actual tournament itself.
Wow, that's. I would have thought that would have been sooner.
You guys are gonna have plenty of practice then from the UK Nats and US Nats too.
Yeah, I think the meta is going to be pretty set by then. And seeing as the solicits page shows that the various sets have been delayed again, it does seem like we won't have any sets to play with before then. So it looks like the meta will be fairly well established. So that'll be interesting.
I wonder if they did that on purpose. Really, I mean, I wonder if they delayed product so that all of the nationals could be played and then they release the product.
I could see that.
But they delay every set. It's not just because of national championships. That's the only problem. They're consistent in delaying.
Well,
yes.
I mean, because how long have we should have had the Harley Quinn pack?
It was supposed to be January originally.
Oh my god.
And Avengers Infinity was supposed to be February.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That would have been awesome. But no.
None of
Oh,
that good stuff.
oh,
Ugh.
well. Oh, well. Okay.
Such is
So,
life.
yeah. So, has everyone been keeping up on the coverage of the UK Nats? Did...
Yes.
I heard what you told me. I'm sorry. I did see the fancy prize cards that I want every single one of them.
Yeah.
These things look amazing.
When I linked
yeah.
them to you, you were like, "Oh, I want them."
Yeah.
They were
Fell out
really
of my
good.
chair.
Yeah.
It was
Me,
awesome.
it depends on the card. Like, I really want that dwarf wizard. I know you guys had WKOs where you had it.
Oh.
We never got those in Canada.
Really? That thing looks amazing too. I didn't get it. I was so close.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's still like even though it was handed out to all locations in the U.S., it's still very rare to find. I mean, people are holding on to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like I didn't even care about the signed one. I just wanted the alt art. I thought it just looked really freaking cool.
I
was
felt
amazing.
I felt bad for someone at our event. I feel as though they should have gotten it, but we decided to go with another draft event and gave out the prize cards in that one. And I felt bad for the certain someone at that event because they came in pretty high. It wasn't me. I don't feel bad for me. It was our
Nobody
buddy.
feels bad for you.
Yeah, I know. I felt bad for Jared Gaskin.
Oh, yeah.
He came in second, and the thing, he was okay with it. He was cool with it, but man, I felt bad. I thought it would have been really cool if he would have got the dwarf wizard.
Yeah.
But,
If I would have won my match there at the end, I would have got a dwarf wizard.
but you
did not.
didn't.
Nope. Was not a good time.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to face against a knobby team in a draft.
Yeah. I almost did it. I just did not roll right.
The funny thing is, I had the counter for that team with Madam Mask on my team, but everyone that countered me played me first, and I didn't make it very far. So, Joe, what was your thoughts on the top team?
I was kind of surprised, to be honest with you. I knew we had been talking about Gold Dragon, Ring of Winter, plus X build, but I never expected somebody to come out with the Super Rare Yanti and just hit it as hard as they did and really focus on it.
Yeah, it seems a little heavy-handed, but man, with the meta the way it is, as slow as it is, you can really just punish people with that card. It seems like.
Yeah,
Oh,
when Chris told me about this team, I was like, dude, that's pretty much your team. Except you just have to throw your Gold Dragon and ring on there, and that was your team.
Before we went on with the live stream talking about the brew, I literally said, I should just do something douchey and throw on Ring of Winter and Gold Dragon. Yeah. And I was like, and then I should have.
One thing about that team that's very interesting, though, is that, and that's something I've hit on a couple of times in the past, stretching your opponent's counters, having an alternate strategy that you cannot counter the same way. Because that team does not have one linchpin that you can shut down, as opposite to, say, an Immortal team, where if you shut down Hela, well, that team is going to have a much harder time.
Yeah.
And plus with that team, you have workarounds. Like the other WinCon is a workaround to unclog what your opponent has done. Like the Super Yanti, you just buy stuff to free up the dragon, then you swing through with the dragon. If they stop your dragon, you just pull out the Yanti and don't care.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I agree with Laurier that there's no, in this format the way it is right now, there's no specific silver bullet to any teams or any, there's multiple threats, but you have to put as many counters on your team as they have threats. And if you're doing that, then you're losing already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, control in this meta, unless you're really running a collector team and trying to go hard control, it really has to just be there to disrupt, not to shut down.
Everybody was talking about Bishop and his place, and I mean it's in the third and fourth place team, I believe. Let me see, going down the.
Yeah, Bishop.
It was in the fourth place team, and the thing is that even in the chats, I was speaking with some of the participants there overnight, and they said even though they had Bishop, because a couple of them had tried it on the first and second chance or last chance qualifiers, they said even still it just wasn't enough to keep up with what everybody else was doing. Yeah. Again, everybody had their threats kind of spread out real wide, and people prioritized stacking up on threats over control because they knew they were just not going to be able to keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where losing all of those other blankers than Shriek really shifted the meta. Because
Yeah.
now we don't have Dwarf Wizard, we don't have Kryptonite, we don't have Cold Gun. That for the trying to do full shutdown control is so much harder now. So that's why I think so many players went for that approach. And even I did last Thursday just to test it out to see if just a varied multiple threat team would win, even though one of the win cons I tried to go for was not that efficient in Hawk and Dove. But
Yeah.
still, that approach to team building and that approach of stretching out your opponent's counters, forcing them that if they want to try to stop you, well, they can't just go for one card. You can't just shut me down with Madam Mask. You can't just shut me down with Bishop. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the days of staple control being on every single team is over until they come out with more control, because it's just going to be spread too thin on what you need to stop, especially when they do layers. Like 2 win cons is most of the time good enough, 3 win cons, and if it's good enough to do with 1 or 2 cards to have that win con push forward, it's really devastating. And if you have 3 of them on there like that, it's just crazy ridiculous. Like Nabi, that's the only one you're going to see all the control on there. That's the only, because it helps the win con. I think any other time you're just wasting a win con space.
So as far as control goes, I was talking to Chris about this the other day. I was wondering why there wasn't more Green Devil masks on the teams. I'm only seeing 2 out of all of them. Lori, why do you think that is? Chris thinks that it's just too slow and it's not that effective.
And you can work around it.
The thing with Green Devil Mask is that, yes, it'll help with some teams.
Mm-hmm.
But anytime you plan for counters, it's a numbers game. If you're expecting that you're going to run into a lot of Gold Dragon teams, Gold Dragon does not need to get a big board. Just look at James's match against Patrick, where it was Dragons versus Immortals. That match was over so fast, and he just pummeled. You don't need to get a big board with a lot of these win cons that we're seeing right now. Same with Fix It. So Green Devil Mask is a situational counter that will really help when it's the right matchup. But otherwise, it can be nearly useless and easy to work around. So if they're going for multiple win conditions, they're only going to have 2 spots for control probably, at which point you're going for Shriek and 1 other control card. And so what are you going to be choosing in that context? Some people are going to choose Scarlet Witch, some people are going to choose Madam Mask, but that's the thing is, do you really want to choose Green Devil Mask over any other control? That's the issue you run into.
Gotcha. Cool. And I think that's kind of the same thing that Chris was saying. I just wanted to get someone else's opinion on it. I love Green Devil Mask. I'll choose it every time.
He wanted to get someone's opinion that's right.
Yeah.
He doesn't believe me.
It can complement a win condition very well in some cases. Yeah. So, for example, if you're going for a team that's going to rely on Overcrush, having Green Devil Mask can thin your opponent's board and help your win condition.
Yeah.
So
totally.
Toots.
So if it helps with that, then that it can be a very good fit.
So gotcha.
Yeah, and looking at the rest of the teams, a lot of it. The thing is, the people that were top 2, the top 1 didn't have any control. He used some of his win con as to say Michael Power. He used his win cons as board clear to clear the path, and everyone else just had like even on Seth Connor, the 13-year-old kid that came in second at UK Nats. I'm looking at it. I'm not seeing control. Like they're and then on the next tier, the 3rd team, that was Chris Williams. He had Shriek, Blob.
He opted for more control because those Danger Room, Batarang, Blob, Shriek, and Bishop, those are control. Those are hardcore 100% control.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a whole lot of sense with the Collector. Seth also had Collector, but I mean, he was using... he used Danger Room to really just do as much damage as he could, and people said it was pretty devastating with playing against him with the Danger Room. And then
One thing about one of those teams, Chris Williams' team, I love that Batarang in this meta now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised that we haven't seen it on Attune teams.
What does the Batarang do?
3 damage to a villain and boomerang.
And boomerang, yep.
Oh,
It's the comment, I believe.
Yes.
wow.
Yeah. And I thought it was 2 damage. It might have been 3.
No, it's 3 damage, but to a villain only.
Yeah,
But
What's it cost to buy?
2.
Two cost?
That's where I'm getting
Wow.
the numbers mixed up. Yeah, it costs 2 to buy, and then it deals 3. I mean, you could just as easily slot in. So on let's go back to what you were saying, Laurie. On Michael's team, you could just as easily slot in for Bat Signal or Kobold Trap. You could just as easily put in a Batarang. You know, it costs 1 more, but it has more utility in the fact that it could get rid of any villains that are currently causing issues.
and potentially come back the next turn.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael also has a video up on YouTube where and Britt Roller 6 has it in his website where he showcases and explains he basically dissects his team and talks about how it worked and what worked about it. And if you want to see someone talk about their team that won a national championship, it's I could put it in the link in the description so you guys can go to his his YouTube page and watch it. It's really interesting.
Nice.
I will most definitely check that.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out too.
And then
So what y'all are saying is the meta is very aggressive right now. Super aggro.
For
Punch
now.
you in the face. I like that though.
yeah, you got to go as fast as you possibly can.
I want to go fast.
U.S. Nationals might show us a little something different because it seems like to me, with the emergence of this Ring of Winter Gold Dragon thing, a lot of people might not go for that, and they might actually just lean on something different. Now, I don't know if a lot of people are going to go for Yonti Pureblood either, the super rare, because the cat's kind of out of the bag at that point. And U.S. Nats, they like to mix stuff up. It's always different. It's always something different.
Yeah, and I don't think we have to worry about someone having a card or not, because if they go to UK Nats, they most likely have all the pieces that are going to be crazy good. Like, I think most of the time, the top tier players at the UK Nats have every single card, so it's not a thing of whether they have it or not.
Did you mean U.S. Nats or?
Yeah, US Nets. I'm sorry.
Okay. I don't know, Laurie. What do you think? What do you expecting to see out of U.S. Nats? Are you expecting to see this kind of the same skeletal builds as the Pureblood and Gold Dragon villains, or what do you think?
Honestly, I think that we are probably going to see a little less variety of builds because people are going to notice that, okay, they're going to try to compartmentalize of, okay, there's the collector builds, there's the attune builds, there's the aggro builds. But what's going to be really interesting is that even though we're going to have those big main win conditions, it's going to be the secondary strategies that are really going to make or break which team works. So the team lists are not going to be identical, I don't think. But you can expect, like, I think we're going to be seeing a ton of gold dragons, obviously, just thrown on as a secondary win con because it's so easy to do. But we're also going to be seeing everyone that doesn't run a gold dragon or fix it at US Nats, expect a lot more Kate Bishops.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So the interesting thing about Kate Bishops though is that it doesn't actually stop Gold Dragon in the breath weapon, which can, they can nickel and dime you in that way. Because I have actually faced, so before UK Nats, I faced Ben and Matt, and we kind of went through some testing. And Matt, he did Gold Dragon, and we played somewhere around like 3 or 4 games. And I had Hawkingbird on the team, and it was great, but it still didn't really affect what he was doing that much.
Yeah, that is true. However, sometimes, you can be nickel and dimed 3 damage at a time. He's spending 3 energy to deal those 3 damage. You're spending 1 to ping it back. He's probably spending more energy in the long run. So if you're able to get your win condition set up efficiently, you can probably stave off the Gold Dragon attack long enough to get the win. And that's something that I expect. I know I'll be doing a lot of playtesting to see how well can I do again. Any team I build for Canadian nationals, I'll be like, okay, how does it stack up against Gold Dragon? Because we'll need to consider that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And we might see the emergence of more of the uncommon gold dragons, because somebody pointed out earlier that that's just really good tech.
As a reverberation back at them.
That's a good point. And if we see that, expect expect the team with more dragons then, so that they're not as affected by not having Breath Weapon 3. Because the 3 on the Breath Weapon 3 is a very big impact, because it gets rid of Shriek on any level, Scarlet Witch on any level, Yuan-Ti Pureblood on any level. Like, there are a lot of low toughness characters in the game right now in the meta. So that Breath Weapon 3 is a pretty big deal. So if someone goes for Uncommon Gold Dragon, which only has a Breath Weapon 2, expect that they'll also throw in like a Silver Dragon or another dragon.
Or a red dragon that has the 2. Like, you don't want to do the red dragon that has, when the board's clear, it does double, because that's just win more. But I think the one red dragon that is a 2 breath weapon, along with the gold dragon and the silver dragon, could be really good. You just got to get it going perfectly, because the red dragon topside is 8. That's pretty ridiculous.
Yes, that's a very good point.
So
even just running the uncommon, that's Breath Weapon 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you add that to the 2 from the uncommon, just having those big bodies in there, it can push you over the top, right?
Yeah. That way you have the anti-breath weapon, and you have... Yes, that's just gross, honestly.
So going back over the utility of Attune and the strength of Mike Goldpower's winning deck list, you have a lot of, he said he didn't feel the need to run any control outside of Shriek, because the Attune was already doing that job pretty much.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, Laurier, low toughness, kind of makes it easier to be picked off with Attune.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I'm noticing, actually, his team, outside of Xandala and Gold Dragon, everything else that he has can be pinged off in the mirror match by a Gold Dragon Breath Weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So
he was just prepared not to face his mirror match. That's pretty much what it boils down to.
Oh my gosh, the mirror match of Super Arianti. It triggers your tunes on both sides.
That's a crazy match, because you gotta ping off the opposing Super Yanti before you go to purchase, and if you don't have enough things, like when we did the the UK, not God, I'm so mind screwed right now. When we did the Dallas WKOs, I had to be mindful to purchase. I had to make sure I cleared off their Yanti before I pressed on, and sometimes you just don't get that win because you're a little bit behind.
Well, no, there was 3 different builds of Yuan-Ti Pureblood, and 2 of them focused on having either a Sandala Assember or like an Elf Druid with a tune just for that purpose, just for the mirror match specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I had that on my team. It's just, if I was trying to go for turn 3 kill, I didn't buy her, but long term I did.
Yeah, I did. I only ran Super Arianti Cube team once, so.
And then you felt dirty afterwards, and you decided, I'm never playing this ever again.
No, but I only did it actually relatively recently. We had, and I didn't get to write about this on DM North yet. I might just, if I have a time. It was on a weekend special tournament, and
in the shadows.
Actually, at a friend's place. He was hosting it at his house. And yes, I did feel dirty afterwards. Because, oh my gosh. I was running it with 3 Attune characters, namely Yanti, Xandala, Elf Druid, with the cube, obviously, and with Kryptonite.
Yep.
Obviously, Parallax to counter Scarlet Witch. So the way it was set up, what did I put it. I forget the other cards right off the top of my head, but it was disgusting. One time, the only reason I did not win turn 4, but I won the turn after. No,
Mhm.
the only reason I didn't win turn 3 and won turn 4 instead is because I rolled, re-rolled, and parallaxed 5 times my Cosmic Cube, and it never came up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Parallax
Did you
is
throw it
your
away
own
afterwards?
counter.
I would have thrown that die away if it didn't come up for me after 5
I
times.
don't know. Everybody talks about the parallax tax. You know, that's the risky run having parallax on your team.
Yeah.
So good though. So good.
I actually like having a Sararak in this meta simply because
It keeps you from going parallax nuts, right?
exactly.
Yep.
It's a
You're like,
state
"No,
tax
just one."
instead of federal tax.
There you go. The lower level. That's it. One and done.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Laurier, what out of all the teams, especially like the top 8, which teams do you think that were different but had a chance?
Honestly, there are a number of them that were like just a couple of cards off. Like, I was looking at one team that I found very interesting, and it was a team with like Avalanche and Nabi, and it was a collector team, but it was
Mhm.
using the Avalanche that whenever you feel the villain, you damage all your opponent's characters, and it was
I see it
using
here. So it's the Investigation, Villainous Pack, Danger Room, The Spot, Norman Osborn, Kate Bishop, Avalanche, Absorbing Man, Blob, and the Collector.
So I could just see that kind of control getting nasty real quick. Like, you'd clear out most of your opponent's board a lot of the turns. I'm actually disappointed not to see that higher because I really like that rare Avalanche. I've been meaning to do a Hushalanche team at one point.
Man, that would
But,
be crazy with a staff or something like that.
Yeah. That's what I was looking here at this. I was looking at the list when he was talking about it. I was like, man, if that had a staff on it,
Again-
That's our answer for every board clear.
just throw a staff on
But
it.
it's just what I'm seeing here is like I think a major weakness is the investigation spot reliance to get them ramping.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have actually streamlined their options, maybe with a Professor X Mimic kind of package. But at the same time, you know, I don't like having those two pieces for ramp myself. I like just having either like a Villainous Pact or a Resurrection or even Create Food and Water just to get
Yeah.
that singular global to get me bag management and not so much ramp. Because you'll see that on a lot of the top 4 teams. They just have either or, and they use it primarily just to, you know, they don't have like, for example, Michael Power, you know, he relied on other people's ramp cards, like other people's Professor X's and stuff like that. But he also had a resurrection on his side, just in case he came up against a team that didn't use any sort of particular manual ramp.
But yeah, and that's what I mean though when I say this team was a couple of cards off of being like potentially really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I could see the potential of that kind of control, especially because Avalanche is not as easy to counter. It's as far as board clear goes, I can't think outside of outright blanking the card. I can't think of a good way to counter that particular ability, and it's very easy to trigger. So,
Yeah.
because it doesn't count as a Winfield.
Oh, that's so stupid. It's such a stupid ability. Oh man, I think it just gets countered by people just not thinking about that, and then we don't know how fast he got it out. We don't know how fast. Like, I wish there was live coverage of it.
Yeah.
There just needed to be like a tournament report, you know, people giving breakdowns of their matches and stuff like that. Then we'd be able to see what happened where, what decisions were made.
Yeah, Philip Ball did a good job in reporting as much as he could, but it's just frustrating because I can see how the team could quite possibly work, and I just want to like watch it and hear it. But
I agree. I mean, I never net deck, but I'm mildly tempted to try a variant on this.
join the net decking.
But you can see, so Laurier going off that, you can see where the decisions were made. Like the Kate Bishop obviously was there for the Gold Dragon. People, I have a feeling people had a heads up going into the tournament, like, oh hey, Gold Dragon's going to be a thing. We need to watch out for that. Because
Could be.
from what I'm seeing here, Hawkingbird is on the majority of the teams in the top 8 and top 4.
They might have been scared of maybe some fix-its or something like that. I don't.
Yeah, I think
'Cause,
Fix-Its
I
and
mean-
Gold Dragons.
Yeah, because gold dragons, yeah, like Lori said, you're still gonna take that ping damage. You may be pushing the dragon back, but it's a slow burn.
Yeah, but Fix-It can still win turn 5
Yeah,
and turn 6 reliably, which is like arguably Fix-It and Gold Dragon are the 2 fastest win conditions in this meta. You've got to be prepared against them somehow. Kate Bishop's as good a counter as any in my view.
Oh yeah.
Really
Kate Bishop
scary.
just so happens to get all the win attacks kind of things countered.
Yeah, and if you have like Professor Xavier, you can just kind of fake like you're just gonna continually to do the psychic and keep them from attacking because they think you're gonna just push it back, and then I'm just gonna do this now. Oh, it's so stupid. I really like that. Oh man. Okay.
So, one question for you guys though:
Mhm.
Do you think that Wong Insect Plague has potential to make it as a serious win con?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I think we've played it a couple of times, where it's not that fast, but it's pretty annoying.
I think
At least.
I think we play tested half measures on it. We haven't really built
Yeah.
around Wong, so that's the problem with him. You got to build around to really maximize him. I think.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you already have one of the key pieces, and that's super rare Jubilee, which coincidentally also deals damage, getting you closer to that net effect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Super
But
good.
I still think I think it's too slow. To me, Wong kind of requires more than 3 characters. 3 is the minimum amount of characters that you need to have in order for that team to be, really effective. And that's kind of what bugs me is a lot of these teams, all you need is maybe 2 to 3 characters. But when you get more than 3 to establish your win con, and they have to be active on the board, it just, I mean, even pieces wise, with actions too. If you need more than 2 or 3 actions, or actions, a mixture of like actions and characters to get your win con going, to me that's just too slow.
Yeah.
I think with the right play testing, we could probably get Wong to be pretty fast. I mean, he's a 2-cost fist, and you get a big entrance. You can buy 3 of them in 1 turn. So I mean, yeah, you're loading your bag a little bit, but that's a lot of Wongs. And if you get him on his max side, that's 4, and he swings through with that insect plague.
Chris,
And
don't
you
do
feel-
it.
There's
and you
nothing
feel-
wrong
and
with
you feel
that.
the other- and you feel the other two in the field, you still have some blockers. So beefy blockers.
Yeah.
Well, they're not that beefy, but they're better than sidekicks.
Well, they may not be beefy, but they have fast.
Yes.
That's a very potent fix-it counter if they don't have Hellfire
Oh,
Club
right
on their
here.
build.
On my desk with all the dices.
Yeah, me and Robert have been play testing trying to like do something that's reasonably good
Do
teams.
something. Excuse me.
You're excused. Jeez.
Sorry, guys.
So Armada mentioned, he was like, oh well, you just counter that setup by killing them before they set it up. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in a fun casual type of scene, that's a totally really great card.
Mhm.
But I kind of agree. Competitive, it is a little bit slow, but if things roll right for you and they roll wrong for your opponent, it could grant that's any team, but I think it could be really crazy.
Well, that's some food for thought for me. I'll have to try it at some point.
Yeah, I must try to roll better at some point.
No, but like some food for thought though of just trying a Wong team. I might just do that some.
Yep.
Yeah, I like trying all the staples out just to see how I play them, and most of the time I gauge it with whether I'm tempted to buy it, and if I'm tempted to buy it, it's probably decent enough for me, because if I don't buy it, it's not worth it.
Do you not have the Doctor Strange pack?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you do have it.
I got it for the Eye of Agamotto.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I love that Eye of Agamotto. It's not
That Eye of Agamotto is actually good. I'm surprised we haven't seen it pop up in more higher end tournaments.
Yeah.
I think it's because the global on it puts the die in the bag, and people have not yet realized that with chalkboard out of the way, that's the best way to coordinate having actions roll on the same turn.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I was
So-
doing on that.
Yeah.
Yes,
So-
Chris. Yes, that's what you were
so-
doing.
So maybe we'll see it, but I don't know if we'll see it in major competitive teams because we don't, outside of Ring of Winter, we don't really have any actions that people tend to use as much as part of their win conditions. Outside of team
Yeah.
up as well.
With Cube out of the way, it kind of the list just grows incredibly short.
I think with Malekith and Eye of Agamotto, those could be two tech that go together. Because you could reach for something like Team Up and make it cost 2 less and put it directly in your bag. That could be something good. So you're basically paying the price for it and putting it in the bag, and the opponent's like, "Crap, what am I gonna do?"
Yeah.
That's
And
a
if
good
they want to
point
get
on
all your
Up.
team ups, they're gonna waste their own resources to buy them all from under you. So
Yeah. And plus, if you play Eye of Agamotto, you get to put it on them for 1 damage whenever you play something.
boy. I just realized
What's that?
team up, uncommon cube.
Yep.
yeah,
I love on my Yanti Pureblood brew. I had Uncommon Cube on there.
yeah.
I'm just picturing doing triple team up on the same turn.
Oh, God, you could get so like if you had 3 different affiliations, that would be super gross.
Mm.
Plus 8 plus 8. Or plus
Jeez.
6 plus 6, yeah.
That's hurting my brain right now.
Yeah. Ah. Well, you saw how nasty team up can be in my. I guess I should refer to it as my miracle team, considering how it always tended to win.
Your wizard team,
The
Jesus.
wizardry. Yeah.
There was so many times where I thought I was commenting to either Joe or Robert. I was like, Laurier's he doesn't have this match. He's gonna lose it right here. And then sure enough, Miracle Man just pulls out exactly the dice roll he needs. Oh man.
Yeah, there was a couple
Sometimes
matches
that's all you
where
need.
we were privileged to see the wizardry in action.
Yeah. Well, I was privileged to actually get to do it. I was like, okay, so I guess I won that. But I mean, I was even misreading the tempo of my own team because Boom Boom Yanti goes from 0 to 100 miles an hour so fast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. That's so good.
It goes back to the future as fast as it can, man.
And I guess that's another card that I was kind of expecting to see more of on the top 8 lists for the UK Nats, but it just kind of fell by the wayside because the pieces around it were just as fragile.
Yeah, that is the issue. I totally think Uncommon Yanti though is probably going to be tier 1 for some teams or for a lot of teams, and then the Super Yanti is just on the right setup. It can be gross, but you got to have the specific setup, and I think that Gold Dragon makes it really gross. I don't know though. I don't go to championships, so.
I really like the common Yanti. I just don't know if it's gonna be quite fast enough. Just if you use it as your win condition in a competitive team right now.
Yeah, by itself.
Yeah, there's no just like you said, there's really nothing to do with the common Yanti at the moment because your best bet improvised weapon is a 50-50. It's not a guarantee. And even team up takes that setup that we were talking about where if it's more than 3 pieces, you just can't use it.
Yeah. And if the opponent has Scarlet Witch out, the common Yanti is kind of shut down in a way.
It depends.
Well, I mean, you're using Morph or a Sararak, too.
If you have Laurier rolls, it doesn't shut you down.
No, I mean, I did mention the math though. If you use the Sararak, the math normally it's a 75% chance when you roll and reroll. with an Acererak roll, you could still go over 60%. So you still got some decent odds overall.
It never works out for me.
Okay.
Just from personal experience, it seems like it's much worse. But I truly understand the math. It's just it doesn't seem to work out for me ever. All right. So, do you guys have anything else to say about the UK Nets?
Just congratulations to the winners and the top 8 guys.
And congratulations to all the winners indeed. And I'm going to have to face Ben Scott in Canadian Nationals now.
Oh,
He's going to take out all of his rage of not winning UK Nets.
Well, I was going to say his team was actually, so we had talked about it before he was going to show up, and we had done some pretty extensive testing on his team but he chose to use Gold Dragon, Ring of Winter, and Heimdall, and we were really I was really back and forth on that, and so I see that the final team that he took was Sans the Ring, and I don't know if that helped him or hurt him, because he chose to do Kate Bishop over the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
And because he was expecting to see, the same thing, Mr. Fix-It or Gold Dragon there. And I think that really hurt his chances too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that team with the Ring instead of Kate Bishop, I mean, obviously hindsight is 2020.
Right.
That team with the Ring would not want to have that in front of me.
No.
Yeah, so I mean, that was the thing, is that he and I tested one night, and I kept on telling him, I just don't know about the Heimdall with the Gold Dragon and the Ring, because you're all helping your opponent out. And he told me, we played through it, and he was pretty fast for what it was. I played him with a version of Morph as well, but I used Shockwave and he used Unstable Canister. Mm-hmm. And so in testing, he won the majority of the games. I just, we still kept on having a back and forth about how quick his Gold Dragon would get out, even with the Heimdall. And I still thought it was too slow.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think if he would have put like Resurrection and taken off Heimdall, I think it might have been a little bit better, and put on the Ring of Winter. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where the choice to run the Create Food and Water came from, because he had Resurrection on his team before.
Probably went for he probably went for that big turn 4 you can get by using Create Food and Water,
where you just get all your sidekicks in the prep. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because before, whenever we tested again, he chose to resurrect Ring of Winter on turn 1 or turn 2, I think it was. And then he would Heimdall on, it was turn 1, resurrect, and then Heimdall turn 2, or vice versa. So that way you'd have the Gold Dragon out by at least turn 3. And so he was pretty consistent with it. But it's just, there was some, the first 2 games that I played him, I decided to go with my Scarlet Witch first, and that really showed that.
Interesting.
Okay.
But he'll have better luck against you, or maybe vice versa, Laurier in the Nationals over there in Canada.
Yeah, well, I know I've been poked a little bit, because the Nationals actually take place in a place that's on Laurier Street in my hometown of Gatineau.
You literally own the road, huh? Nice.
Yeah, it just landed that way. But...
Okay. All right. Let's go over the Kree team pack, the cards that we liked, because if you want to see an extensive list of it and someone that went over it quite well and what they would do and their things, check out DM Ramada. He did a good explanation of what he thinks would be fitting into the meta and everything like that. We're just going to go over a few cards that we think could be really good. So, what do you think could be a good card in the new setup now?
What is going on here?
I don't know. What is going on?
We'll start with you, Laurier. Which out of the team pack, which card or cards do you think could be really good for the meta currently?
Oh boy. I'm torn between 3 of them, to be honest. There's the double overcrushing Thanos. That damage output could get so insane, and it's not that hard to get high costs anymore. between Ring of Winter and now that new pre-captain
Pre-captain.
global and Mimic Ramp, like it's not that hard to get to 8. And double Overcrush? Are you kidding me? Like that's the first one that comes to mind for me is that one. But then I think of the really again the Captain global. Having a Ring of Winter like global on any team pack, that thing is going to see a lot of play.
Yeah. I do like that Kree captain, and I think he just makes a lot of sense. And with like a Kree soldier, that could be really good too. And it's just so gross. So gross.
So talking about the Kree soldier, everybody's favorite is now going to be the Swarm Infiltrate because you can swing in without fear of losing it to unblocked opponents or anything like that. It immediately returns and you get some chip damage in as well.
Yeah, I like how the Groot chlorokinesis is kind of like a counter to that, to infiltrate. So while Groot is active, prevent 1 combat damage to you from each attacking character die. So wouldn't that just negate infiltrate?
Infiltrate is ability damage.
So it wouldn't stop it? That sucks then.
Traditionally, it happens after blocks and everything. So where the damage would have to be on their declare attack step, or it would have to be something like that. Like whenever it attacks, deal X damage, or something like that. I think that's what it was meant for.
No, it's meant to be combat damage. So say you're attacked by a bunch of sidekicks, you let them all through, and you prevent 1 from each of them. In fact, the common Stone Golem has that same ability right now. So, in fact, I actually think it would be viable to have both of them on the team, the Stone Golem and Groot, and just soak up 2 damage per attacker. Like, if you start seeing small aggro characters, as if the meta evolves towards that, that could be pretty interesting.
So I do like the global on Groot though. Pay a shield, choose an affiliation of a character die you have fielded this turn, move a die with that affiliation from your use pile to your bag. I think that's pretty cool. I like that global.
Kree captain with the Kree soldier and get the 1 Thanos to get it down to a low purchase cost, and then just move it over to the bag.
To your bag. Yep.
Or fabricate Kree captain and Kree soldier to buy a supreme intelligence. Like you field those 2, then you fabricate them, then you pay a shield because you did field a villain this turn to move that supreme intelligence to your bag.
So which of the supreme intelligence is the one that struck you the most interesting, Laurier?
I'm gonna echo what DM Armada said on this one, and it's gonna be the one that whenever you field a character die with Kree in its name, dice like the character dice you control get +1/+1. That can get out of control pretty quick.
It certainly can.
I mean,
Go ahead, Laurier.
I mean, already Kree Captain buffs himself like crazy. So, like, to have an added buff on top of that, I mean, this is the kind of situation where if you have a little upgrade proton cannon, you declare your attackers, wait to see how the blockers are declared, then it's like, okay, here's the weak point. I'm giving Overcrush to something, and that, like, heck.
Yeah. And the other one, if you add that, like you wait to field that after you have Thanos in the field and the Kree captain and everything like that, and the 1 Thanos that gives +1/+1 to all non-Thanos villains, that could get pretty gross too.
Oh yes.
What do y'all feel about Mantis? This one knows. While Mantis is blocking, if she is assigned combat damage equal to or greater than her defense, prevent all damage to you from target attacking character die.
I like it. I think it's really meant for one thing and one thing only, for Overcrush of Mr. Fix-It or some other big body like that. I
Mhm.
don't.
Thanos, like we were just talking about.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but it's got to be, if that's in your meta, you're going to be bringing that and just putting that in the field and not caring. But how many Overcrushing characters do we see in the UK Nats?
No.
So it depends on your local meta, really.
It doesn't always have to be just for Overcrush, though.
Yeah, it's just if she blocks and she gets KO'd with something that's higher than her defense, if you let something through, you can prevent that damage.
Yeah.
So,
So you could let that gold dragon through while blocking another dragon.
Mm-hmm.
If they have two dragons on the field, which is entirely possible. And then she blocks one dragon, you let the other one through. The other one's going to be cycling through, and you took no damage from it. So.
yep.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
3/4 defense, so that dragon's gonna be higher than Mantis's defense, so you just prevented all that damage.
Yeah, really, I think getting her in with like a rare nowhere so that she's on her level 1 side, so you can make the most, you can benefit from it the most. Because not only dragons or some other big, large attacker that you have that's overcrushing, they might have a defense of 2 or 3. So getting Mantis in on her lower level is actually key here.
Yeah, it's for blocking though. She has to be knocked out by blocking.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. So she needs to be level 2 or 3 to survive Breath Weapon.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
That's the big issue. Like that, if you have something to bring her in with Collector and possibly spin her up like a Gigantic Global, yeah, that could be pretty good.
Seems like a lot of work though.
A lot of tech to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I'd see her more as a control piece you'd bring on a team you'd already have prepared. So, like, if you're doing a Guardians team and you have another Guardians to give call out to because you've got Super Rare Star-Lord.
That sounds awesome.
So you guys are saying that she needed to be KO'd. She doesn't have to be KO'd in order to make the best use of her effect. It's just while she's blocking, if she's assigned combat damage equal to or greater than her defense, prevent all damage to you from an attacking character deck.
Yeah.
From target attacking character.
Yeah. So she needs to be in a situation where she will be KO'd.
Or at least take more damage.
Yeah.
Which would KO her probably.
Yeah.
Is there a card that doesn't KO her? It would just negate damage, right? Like Turtle Van or something like that. Right? Because it takes the damage away at that point.
But then
Guardian of Faith?
They can still overcrushing damage. Yeah, they can still do overcrushing damage. It's just blocked.
Yeah. Never mind. I was mixing it up with another card.
Yeah, it's all good. All right. Well, anything else on there that you guys like or we'll talk about?
I mean, I didn't like anything from Drax or even Groot, to be honest with you, except from the global.
Yeah, Rocket was kind of disappointing. I didn't really care for any of his abilities. Maybe the defense one, but even that's kind of meh.
Yeah.
I actually will disagree on the Rocket. Because if you make a pure Guardians team and you put the Star-Lord to give all of your Guardians call out, because the raccoon that's buffed for each attacking die, each attacking Guardians character die.
Okay.
So you swing in, you make sure that your opponent has to block your Mantises, your Cosmos, your lower attack characters.
Yeah.
And then they don't have enough blockers left to stop the big buffed raccoon.
That's true. Okay. You convinced me. That one's good. I mean, he's a 0/1/1 to field. He's a 2/3/4, so he's pretty beefy on his 3 side. And then he just gets bigger. So yeah, I like it.
And he's only a 3-drop, so that's not bad at all.
Not too bad, yeah.
I think he's the winner out of the bunch of that one.
Yeah, he is out of all those.
Yeah, I wonder when we're going to get a good Drax card. I really don't remember one just being, oh man, I need a good Can't wait to get that Drax out.
We can't even wait for an OP good one because they're probably gonna have OP anymore.
Oh, I hope that changes, because I mean, OP cards were so much fun.
Yeah, I just don't see it, honestly, because they're trying to focus more on the home play than the go to the store and play.
Yeah, well, I'll disagree.
I don't agree with that necessarily because I mean, HeroClix comes out with OPs and OP monthly kits all the time, and I mean they're crushing it right now, home and tournament or store wise.
They're still blind pick though, still blind buy, right?
It's
Yes.
mixed. They have like package sets like team packs, and then they have blind sets. If we could just get WizKids to, I mean, if we get them to do Dice Masters the same way, a mixture of both, like a healthy mixture, because OP kits come around the time that there's some big release, and then involved in that big release, you have a team pack, and then you have 3 different blind sets that come along in that same release.
Yeah. We may go through a few variations of them trying to get it right, the spice of life for Dice Masters.
Yeah. Side note, we were talking about Drax. I'm realizing the uncommon from Guardian. Oh, it's only once per turn that he's buffed. Ah, darn it.
The one where he does a pain damage for each Guardian that's already in the field when you field him, that's pretty okay. Ben was playing that in the 2-team takedown on his Guardians team.
I think out of these 3, Avenging the Agent of Kronos is probably the best one. If you fielded a non-Drax Guardian character died this turn, you may field Drax for free. So if you get that Groot out there, it's like a 0/1/1 to field. I'm sorry, the Rocket.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cheap. I mean, you just field Rocket, field Drax for free.
Yeah.
Even Mantis is a 0/0/1. So.
Yeah.
But I mean, his stats aren't that great. I mean, he's got a lot of defense. That's about it.
Yeah.
His fielding costs kind of take away any that he, any initial power that he may have had. Even if he kept the abilities and the purchase costs the same,
Mm-hmm.
I think just giving him like a 0/1/2 or even like a 0/1/1, that would be perfect. People would be incentivized to play it more over other Guardians.
Yeah, and I guess, like I said, that's probably the best one. You just have to hope you get that turn where you draw 2 Guardian, a different Guardian than him, that same turn, and that's just too much.
You can do that with Groot's Global though. You can purchase Rocket.
That's true.
After you purchase your Drax, and then put the Rocket to your bag, and then you do bag management. You get Drax in there as well, like maybe a Cake Global or Resurrection Global.
And if you're running a theme team, I mean that's very likely. So.
Yep.
Yeah. The more we talk, and the more I'm realizing that Groot Global is going to be a godsend to single affiliation teams.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about like these Yantis. You're buying 2 cost Yantis. They're the same affiliation. You just pay a shield, now it's in your bag.
Yep.
Not bad.
You could even do that with a Chewinga because it's the same affiliation. It's Monster.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can Supreme Intelligence Global, pay 2. Move a die with purchase cost 2 or less from your use pile to your prep area.
Now, I think that's one that, a lot of people aren't going to really focus on until they see how effective it is. Because that's a really good global to me.
It's a little pricey, but I think if you're buying cheap dice or cheap characters, you're probably going to be fine.
You can also do a sidekick over there too.
Yes. And one thing that's fun is that this is, first of all, it's an energy sink, which is always handy to have, because sometimes you'll just have that energy, you can't do anything with it. You don't want to buy anything more to overload your bag. Yeah. And because it looks just that generic, it'll be a great energy sink.
Yeah.
And then there's the fact that it doesn't specify on your turn.
Oh.
And it's fantastic for that.
Another thing too is that you move it from your use pile to your prep area, so it doesn't have anything to do with managing your bag. So, like you said, you have that extra energy. You're like, okay, well, I don't need to mess with my bag, so just move it over.
Yeah, that turn you pay your 2. You roll your 4 dice. You pay your 2 for your Yanti, and you pay 2 to move it over. Bam, done.
So,
I mean, of
thank
course, you gotta
you,
have one in the
chalkboard.
field.
Thank you, new chalkboard.
New chalkboard. It's a bigger chalkboard because it's more expensive.
It's a beefier chalkboard.
Yeah.
But honestly, for Attune teams, that is what they want. Is the because Pseudo Dragon, Yuan-Ti, Kobold Trap, Bat Signal, all of those are like 2 cost or less.
Yep.
That's like half your team right there.
Yeah.
Even an uncommon cube would be really nice there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I was wondering if anybody was going to get around to that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And the thing about
Yeah.
uncommon cube, you buy the uncommon cube with the uncommon cube's interaction, and you just buy any 4 costs you want after that.
Yeah, so like let's say you're going first, or you're going second, sorry. You're going second. So your first turn is literally purchase cube, then move it over, and then you've got 4 dice on top of the cube, and you can just start rolling from there.
Oh boy. So that means that any 4 cost action needs to be looked at as I can load up on those turn 2 reliably the second that team pack comes out.
Yeah.
So, team up, or if there hasn't been a lot of good 4 cost actions aside from team up.
Well, Villainous Pact, the action. Don't forget that one.
Yeah.
In the right bill.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Especially with with this set. There's a lot of really good villains in this set, it looks like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, Kree Captain, Kree Soldier, Thanos. And you're playing against someone that doesn't have any villains, you just say, okay, Villainous Pact, stop me, buddy.
I can't.
So you wanted to mention all in on villain teams, or even the affiliation itself. You got the Thanos that's a 9 cost, but he costs 1 less to purchase for each of your active villain character dice. And then he buffs your non-Thanos villain dice.
That's my favorite one. That's my favorite Thanos. I think that could be really gross.
Yep.
Yeah. I think they could all be really gross. I mean, the one that you can just send your little tiny villains back to their card. I mean, oh hey, I have a few 1-cost Chwingas on the board. Rare Danger Room. They're all villains. Send them back to their card. Buy Thanos for 1.
Wow.
Or let's talk about uncommon Malekith. So let's say you have 2 or 3 sidekicks and him out, then you just have all you have to do is just buy your Thanos for 3 or 4.
Unfortunately, though, you cannot send psychic dice back.
Oh well, that's true.
It'd be funny if when you send him back to the card, you just put him back in your bag.
Well, if you had rigorous training, they could technically have a card, but I don't think that's what they want. I think that with the nowhere ruling, they're not supposed to do that.
That would be hilarious.
So yeah, what I was talking about is just the 9 cost.
The 9
Thanos,
cost.
Yeah.
the one that's cheaper. So then you put that with the uncommon Malekith. That one's pretty good too.
Yeah.
Oh yes, okay. I thought you meant the one that you send stuff back to the card.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh man.
Although effectively you could have a team of allies and play uncommon Thanos and then return those allies to the cards for that. But I mean, that's a big workaround.
Yeah. Oh.
At that point, you're just setting up to do the thing.
You're setting up to be cute.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need to be cute. I mean, in my case, what I would probably do is I would have common Chwinga and rare Danger Room. I'd set up on the first 2 turns with setting that up to roll as many of those as I can turn 3, with a Heimdall so that I thin out my bag before I do my refill on turn 2. So I'd end up with more than enough energy to buy Thanos. I would just hope that one of my psychic dice would come up as a mask. So I'd probably put Billy Club to be safe.
Yeah.
And so
Gotta have your energy fixers.
exactly.
Have 5 of them,
I mean, but then you fill your Chwingas. They each discount your Thanos by 3. You can buy your 9-cost Thanos turn 3 pretty reliably if you fill your Chwingas and make them villains.
That's fantastic. I like that.
And then you still have the danger room thing that you can use in so many other types of shenanigans. So you just need to otherwise build your team. That can just be a secondary win condition to a team that would otherwise use the rare danger room, like a Nabi team.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could even have Navi on that specific team and send them back to the card, and you just buy them again.
I think Nabi's going to be more effectively used probably going forward than just collector.
Yeah, just Nabi, yeah.
Robert, what's your favorite Thanos card?
I don't know. It's so hard to choose. There's like so many good ones.
I know which one's your favorite one.
I like the double overcrush one.
Yeah, I knew it.
I think that one's fantastic.
When I saw that one, I was like, that's probably Robert's favorite card of the favorite of Thanos.
I like that one and the 9-cost one as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of returning things back to the card, especially if I spend all that time to buy them. But he's an overcrushing Thanos. So,
I mean, if you're returning Twingas, you're getting more value out of that than...
That's true. That is true.
You could essentially be saving 7 if you return 3. I doubt you will, but you could return 3, and that's just ridiculous.
I was thinking that, like with the return on it, with that danger room.
ROI, the return on investment.
ROI, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I really like the double overcrushing Thanos. I just would have to have my ring out there.
We may have to, and Laurier, I'd love to invite you to a Brewer's Corner where we do specifically a Brewer's Corner on those 3 versions of Thanos, because there's so much you can do with misdirection and just the 2 8-cost Thanos, the double overcrushing, as well as the one that makes it cheaper whenever you send your villain dice back to the card, and you just misdirect that stuff in, and I mean, there you go. You have your turn 5 or 6 kill just off of a misdirect and a couple of sidekicks.
And that would be really cool. I'd be honored to partake in that. It would be really cool because I agree, misdirection can be a fantastic support, a fantastic way to like enable those fast win conditions with, like, whether it be Thanos or even right now with Fix It, you can use misdirection to make Fix It into like a how could I say, a harder thing to stop than people realize.
Yeah.
Well, we were privileged to witness the misdirected Mr. Fix It off of the Jarvis, and that was beautiful.
That was nowhere.
That was nowhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The first time I saw that was nuts.
Or the insect plague on a sidekick and then misdirect in like a Dum Dum, or even Mr. Fix It the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's where Dum Dum could exceed, is the misdirection insect plague.
That's why whenever you guys talked about it earlier, I didn't think about it until much later. I was like, well, you can already do that with Dum Dum. Instead of Wong, you can do it better with Dum Dum.
Yeah, way better.
At that point, Dum Dum just becomes dumb.
And if your opponent has insect plague, you could do it twice.
Yeah, like I did to Chris the other day. It was awesome.
And you didn't even realize there was 2 insect plagues. You thought you could do it as many times as you
wanted. Yeah, I thought I could do it as many times as I wanted. And I was like, oh, wait, there's 2. Okay, yeah.
That worked out how I wanted.
Yeah, exactly. I planned that.
So a lot of, you guys are favoring the Kree Captain that gets +1/+1 for every active villain character deck, but I like the one with Swarm. I like that one a lot. That's my favorite.
3 cost with Swarm. I have never seen a 3 cost with Swarm in recent memory. Actually,
the skeleton from the D&D OP kit.
I didn't specify from recent memory.
Yeah.
I
have no memory of it.
In the last set?
The Goblin was a 2-cost fist.
Was it 2-cost? Okay.
Yeah. That's what made it so good.
There's a Parademon with 4.
3 costs for a Swarm is a little pricey for me.
Yeah. The Parademon with 4, though, you'd never buy more than 1 Parademon.
Yeah, you just put them in the field and let your other Swarmers do the ping.
I mean, I could see that Kree captain with Swarm added with the Kree soldier with Swarm with the Superior intelligence. I mean, yeah, making everything bigger when you field Krees. Like I could see that synergy going, and that could do a lot of pain though. So I see that, but that buff on the Kree captain. I'm sorry,
Oh, yeah.
I can't look back. I can't look past that.
Yeah.
I agree. For me, seeing the swarm, because I'm trying to, get the most out of that global, as well as in case I need the character, and I really think that the swarm over the buff just might push it over the edge for me because it's added ramp in addition to the global.
Yeah.
Well,
I think the one that's 2 cost and just has that global, being a 2 cost, that's kind of pretty good too. But I do think the swarm is kind of interesting and the right kind of build, like you're talking about. So I think all of them, all 3 of versions are viable. Yeah.
I think this is the most meta-relevant team pack that WizKids has ever done.
Yeah, and not just one card makes it meta relevant; it's a lot of cards.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the Spider-Man one was pretty good because he had Spider-Man War of the Heart and Shriek.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This has win conditions that we will use. This has the essential support cards in the form of Kree Captain and even Groot to a lesser degree, and maybe even Supreme Intelligence as well. Like it's got win conditions, it's got support, it's got entire built-in strategies. It's like I think it is the best team pack.
It's got Thanos.
I agree.
Even though Maximum Carnage was really good, I agree.
Yeah. It had some good cards in it.
Relevancy in the current meta, it's this is more relevant because Spider-Man Maximum Carnage pack, not everybody's using the Captain America over the Guardians version or examples like that.
Yeah.
I mean, with this team pack, you're probably looking at a good possibility of at least using 4 or 5 of these characters on the team. You could do that and have a successful team. You couldn't do that with most of the other team packs. Even the Defenders one, that one was just a little too pricey.
You couldn't defend that,
especially the Defenders one.
Yeah, I like the Defenders pack. It's just everything was so expensive.
Yeah,
I
wanted it to be good, but it wasn't.
If they had errated every card in that pack to reduce the purchase cost by 1, then it would have been good.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I think with this this team pack, it's going to be good for the 2-team takedown in the fall.
That's where this is going to shine. Really.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So between the two packs that they spoiled, Harley Quinn and Kree Invasion, which ones are y'all leaning towards?
Kree.
Kree?
Kree.
Joe?
As much as a fanboy of DC that I am, I have to go with the Kree team pack on this one.
I'm gonna go Harley Quinn just to be different. I really think the Kree pack is better. It has Harley Quinn definitely has a couple of cards in here, but I think overall the Kree pack has more cards that I probably would use myself.
Well, I mean, what Harley Quinn has for it are those 3 basic actions, and then the Poison Ivy as well as the Harley's Hyenas.
Yeah.
Really, that's all it has going for it.
Mommy's baby, especially.
Yeah.
Don't forget that Batman that gets buffed by every villain and gains Overcrush.
Oh yeah, that's
You're
a good
right.
one. Yeah,
that's gonna be Robert's new favorite Batman.
I love that. If I could find a way to get a lady bullseye,
lazy bullseye.
Lazy bullseye. Yep.
Oh, but
a lady bullseye to get some double damage.
I mean, that Batman plus the rare danger room works on so many levels.
And common Spider, or however you want to pronounce it.
Everyone just says Spider because they're like, oh, whatever.
Because that common mechanized spider, double damage to all villain dice.
Oh.
Everything has become a villain with Rare Danger Room. Your Batman is stronger for every one of those characters, and he's got Overcrush.
Is this the kind of thing you're cooking in your cauldron when you're making your spells?
Wizard.
That's That's the kind of combo that I tend to think up, and then I bring it to a Thursday tournament, and everyone hates me for a couple of weeks.
Man, that's the kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that I like to do as well. I like to look for those randoms. We don't have a local GameStop or shop nearby that would support that as often though.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'm gonna give you a mild spoiler of something I may run tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Rare Danger Room, Uncommon Ronin.
What just happened?
Oh my god.
What does it even do?
I will make Ronin work.
Oh.
Oh
Okay,
my
I have to pull out my
god.
binder because I don't know what Ronin does.
Ronin the
uncommon?
Accuser.
The
Uncommon
Oh.
Ronin the Accuser.
Okay.
When fielded, KO all opposing villain characters.
That's so stupid. That you just swing through for lethal with Ronin and whatever else. That's. Do they like you at your GameStop store?
Why do they keep inviting you back?
Oh my
man.
god.
That's good though. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff your local game shop needs though. People like that.
yeah.
I always switch it up though. The thing is, I never stay. If I find a completely broken mess of a team, like I did when I did Fair and Under Siege Beholder with Valindra and Arch Nemesis and Splinter's teachings, when I do that kind of stuff, I don't stick with it for like a month. I immediately switch.
You're like, okay, that worked. I'm moving on to the next one.
Next.
So that way, if people that lose to your combo, they say, tricked me once, shame on me. They'll come back and they're like, oh, I guess I got fooled again.
You can't fool me twice.
Can't fool me again.
Yeah, I can't fool you again if I'm not playing the same thing.
Exactly.
Oh,
And that,
go ahead,
Gotta do
Lori.
the meme face.
anyway, it makes it really hard for them to actually decide what to bring to try to counter me.
Yeah.
Because you don't show up with the same thing.
That's so last week.
That's awesome.
I'm prepared this time if you bring out your dragon. Wait, where's your dragon?
Oh,
He's at home with the rest of the dragons. That's awesome.
speaking of local play weekly, what's the name of that channel that does stuff on Tuesdays, Joe?
It's Ross's channel. Ross is on Discord. You can find him on Discord. He on the Dice Masters online Discord. He is doing. It's called. What is it called? The Weekly Mayhem or something like that.
Weekly Dice Mayhem.
Weekly Dice Mayhem, and his channel specifically, the name is Super Smash Brothers for Wii U. I don't know why his channel's named that.
Probably from prior use.
Yeah, I mean, because I caught some of his stream last night. We talked a bit back and forth, but the way his format is structured is for quick games, and he lowered the life totals to kind of present people with a challenge. And he also said that you had to knock opponents down in one turn. Otherwise, at the end of this, at the beginning of the end step, they all the damage cleared out. So the players went back to 12 or 10, I think but their life total set at 12, and you have to knock them out in one turn. Otherwise, if you deal 5 damage here, it resets, and by the beginning of the next turn, they're back up to 12.
That's kind of cool.
So it's a really neat idea. It's something to keep it fresh. But yeah, he does it every Tuesday, and he's even shared the link on the Discord so that you guys can sign up so you can get some games scheduled. He has the next 3 weeks scheduled out for games, and he also does like little hangouts and stuff like that. But yeah, his name is Ross. You can find him on the Discord, and then he does everything on Twitch.
Cool. That's awesome. We're gonna have to check that out. Maybe show up one day. Get annihilated by everybody.
Well, I mean, people like your Mr. Fix-It's gonna work wonders there because, like I said, you have to KO the person in one turn.
Yeah.
Was it Modern Age or Golden Age in that particular?
It was. I don't think it.
Was it a recently said goodbye to age or something like that?
Yes, that's what it was.
Oh,
it's different every week.
Yeah,
you're
it's
right, Armando. I apologize. It's different every week. It's a weekly challenge. I apologize. It's a weekly challenge. This time around, they had goodbye to a final goodbye to everything that was going rotation. Station.
That's this past week then?
That was this past week, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So everyone, be sure to check that out, and hopefully that could be the local game store that everyone plays at online in preparation for the online tournaments that we have going on. It's good practice.
Yeah, I considered making up some brews for a couple of his weekly challenges. He announces them on Facebook as well, on the Dice Masters Online Facebook group, and as well as the Unlimited.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it about here because, yeah, we're over the hour right now, and some of us need to get to bed, and our guest probably didn't expect to stay on this long. But
Hey, it's fun though. I mean, yes, sure, I'm gonna be wrecked when I get up in 6 hours, but I had fun.
Oh my god.
oh wow, 6 hours.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I'm waking up in 5:30 because these kids do not want to. They don't want to sleep in. So.
Oh, wow.
I thought you were
Well,
talking about us
thanks
for a
hanging
second.
out. Yeah.
We enjoyed having you, and we're glad you enjoyed your time with us.
Definitely.
All right.
So one last time
Definitely
before we get out of here, can you give us the website again, Laurier?
Okay, it's www.dm-north.com. And
Awesome.
so again, you'll have posts from me usually it'll be every Friday that I post for my Thursday tournaments, every Sunday from Gord, every Wednesday from Matt, and there will be other posts here and there. Sometimes we'll post variants, sometimes we'll have our weekly YouTube roundups that's in there. So we got a good flow of content there. So check it once in a while, see what we've got.
Totally. Everyone get out there and check out the website.
All right. You want to take us out, Robert?
All right. Well, thanks for everyone for watching and hanging out with us. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Discord. Deuces.
See you guys later. Bye.
Good night, everyone.